If the following analysis is correct, then I've realized Miyazaki's vision and will be telling you about the potential 7 bosses we'll be fighting in the DLC and the exact identity of the final boss fight along with the main plot of the DLC in broad strokes. Pray tell, what could you possibly infer from a single picture? Well, Miyazaki, how much can an individual decipher the lore of a DLC by looking at a single picture? In here, Miyazaki is spoiling way more than you think. But you need to have an extensive knowledge of historical mythologies to connect a bundle of information into something more meaningful than the sum of its parts. See, when I look at what people have been speculating and discussing about Shadow of the Erdtree for the past year or so, I'm not sure we're fully moving forward with the ideas creating a coherent narrative. Whether I can accurately predict what will happen in this DLC depends entirely on whether I understand what this location refers to, what inspired Miyazaki while creating this wheat field. This is the field of reeds, described in the Egyptian mythology. Reeds is a synonym for grain, a tall, slender-leaved plant of the grass family, which grows in water or marshy grounds. See, in Egyptian mythology, the land of reeds is an heavenly paradise ruled by Osiris, an Egyptian god, a location you can normally arrive after the death of the body. So, the question is, how is Miquella able to enter the land of reeds as we know he is not dead, sleeping soundly in his cocoon? To understand this seeming contradiction, you need to realize what sleep represents within the proper context. The contribution of ancient Egypt to the field of sleep medicine is quite evident. The concept of sleep had been linked to death, and the Egyptians were the first to describe the similarity between dreams and awakenings. Dream interpretation and analysis had been extensively practiced by thousands of years before the modern psychoanalytic theories. Sleep was also utilized as a method for healing in special sleep temples designed for dream incubations. Early mentionings of sleep disorders and their treatments could be found in a few survived documents dealing with the ancient Egyptian medicine. The first hypnotic medication in history was prescribed by the Egyptians, who used poppy seeds, opium, to treat insomnia, headache, and as an anesthetic. It is also said that an individual who's adept in spiritual practices can access ethereal spiritual realms by separating their soul from their corporeal flesh and access these realms, a form of ego death, if you will. And with this context, when we look at Miquella, it becomes obvious what he's doing in Mohgwyn's palace. Miquella in his cocoon is attempting to access the land of reeds, the land of those who live in death, in the hopes of contacting Godwyn's lost soul. Most people are so sure that this will be the land of reeds before the shattering, during the shattering, or some even saying it will be post-game. Now, although we see Miquella's childlike body in this picture, this doesn't quite make sense, as Miquella's current body in the game is highly morphed and changed as a result of the shards bolstered old demigods and their physical forms. Now, if you want to understand how this bolstering of the demigods occur using the Elden Ring as a metaphysical substrate, you can do so here in my America video. I'm here to tell you that the location of the DLC is not the lands between as we know it, and it's not even strictly speaking Miquella's dream, as that is the method of access. This is the land of those who live in death, the spirit world of the twin bird, the envoy beast of the outer god Negredo of Fire Mazula. If you want to learn more about twin bird, you can watch my Fire Mazula episode here. See, we already know Miquella's aim from the base game. A sword made to commemorate the death of Godwyn the Golden, first of the demigods to die, infused with the humble prayer of a young boy. "O brother, Lord brother, please die a true death." This single item description will completely throw you off and give the wrong impression that Miquella desires to kill Godwyn with hostile intentions. This is not the case. Giving someone a true death is a special phrase utilized by the Golden Order nobility and is not the same as destined death. The stranded souls provide short dialogues that give the proper context of historical periods of the lands between. One of them in Stormfoot Catacombs lays it out for us. A proper death means returning to the Erdtree. Have patience until the time comes and the roots call to you. So, proper death allows for someone to die completely, making sure that they're no longer bound by the spirit world of those who live in death and giving them a chance to be reborn via the Erdtree burials. The Litany of Proper Death. This incantation is especially damaging to those who live in death. Any failed by this incantation cannot be revived. Now again, if you mistakenly interpret revival in this sentence as the same as Erdtree reincarnation we've just spoken about, you will be very confused. What is regarded by those who live in death not being revived is the revival when we hit them with the weapon when they come back to life, unable to properly die. And this spell allows for souls to have a proper death first, preventing this revival mechanic and allowing them to be reincarnated with an Erdtree burial as shown in the Catacombs dungeon door. Just as the Ghost in Castle Soul refers Miquella's desire to give Godwyn a true death and his consequent revival. And the method of eclipse that's being referred to here will generate the purest form of unalloyed gold via draining the sun's color. If this plan did work, Miquella would be able to generate a stronger form of this needle and treat Godwyn and Malenia's curse permanently. However, as we all know, Radahn was sealing the movements of the stars, which means the eclipse Miquella was counting on as a potential strategy to generate unalloyed gold was prevented, which explains why Miquella ordered Malenia to defeat Radahn in the trailers, while sparing Godric's life prior. Even though both Godric and Radahn has valuable shards of the Elden Ring, Malenia wasn't just interested in the shards, but Radahn in specific. She needed to defeat Radahn so that stars could resume their movements and Miquella can enact his plans for the eclipse, not just for the revival of Godwyn but also Malenia's sickness of decay. Yet, as we all know, this was the perfect opportunity for Mohg to get in and snatch Miquella from his cocoon, just when Malenia was on a march to defeat Radahn, leaving Miquella in a vulnerable state, which is why Malenia was left in shambles and despair when we found her in the Erdtree. Not just because the madness-inducing properties of the Ionian explosion, but also Miquella's unexpected kidnapping. See, what I'm trying to say is that Elden Ring is an extremely rich game that requires you to connect the information in holistic ways to understand what's really happening. Regurgitating text from the game over and over again will not result in accurate or deep understanding of Miyazaki's magnum opus, which is why understanding Egyptian mythology is helping us figure out the themes and motivations of characters for this DLC. Now let's talk about the identity of the potential boss fights we'll encounter in the Field of Reeds. There are a total of 7 walking mausoleums in Elden Ring that houses the unwanted soulless demigods of Queen America. Land of Reeds is the land of those who live in death, a realm for those who were unable to have a proper death. Just like Godwyn and these 7 soulless children of America living corporeally without a soul. We will kill and defeat these soulless children, including Godwyn, to give them a proper death, a true death, so that they can be revived via the Erdtree. In Miquella's case, they will be revived with the Erdtree rather than the Erdtree when the time comes. Luthil sacrificed her life so that in death she could continue to protect a soulless demigod until their revival. And with this final piece of the puzzle understood, let's trace the steps back to the foundation of this realm. Phoenix in ancient Egypt and classical antiquity is a fabulous bird associated with the worship of the sun. The Egyptian phoenix was said to be as large as an eagle with brilliant scarlet and gold plumage. It represented the revival of the sun god, reborn from its ashes, the revival of Godwyn the Golden, the scion of the Golden Bough. Castle Soul, Miquella's plans to create unalloyed gold using the eclipse. It all provides the backbone for this following argument. The Outer God, specifically not mentioned in Plesudisax's Remembrance, the Envoy Beast Twin Bird's Outer God, alluded to in the Twin Kite Shield description. I predict that similar to how we fought Elden Beast, the Envoy of Greater Will in the Erdtree, in the base game as the final boss, we will do a similar thing in this DLC. In the shadow of the Erdtree, in the Field of Reeds, the Outer God, Nigredo's Twin Bird, will reside in this Deathroot corrupted Erdtree. My only hope is to have a proper Twin Bird final boss fight, unlike this abomination of a boss fight with Elden Beast. We will see if this extremely long development time will give Miyazaki enough time to design an impressive and enjoyable final boss fight unlike Elden Beast, to cap off his magnum opus, to cap off truly one of the greatest video games ever made. Hey guys, I've spent a lot of time contemplating and researching before making this video, so if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like if you've gotten value from it. Write your thoughts in the comments below, and finally watch these lore videos playlist in preparation for the DLC. You don't want to be lost when Miyazaki pulls some crazy plot twists. You don't want to be lost when the shadow of the Erdtree rolls around. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.